Live, back in action, attacking your speakers from the field to the bleachers. You know what's up. Power 32 podcast time, Power Hour. And we got a fucking great show going on tonight. We got a panel, 5 people. We're going to go through the mock draft, round 1. We are ready to go. I can't wait. This is going to be a freaking great time. We got Kenny, of course, in the house, prime time. And we are joined by Dave McNiner and, of course, Levi Darwin-Raven. What's going on, guys?
I'm good to go. I'm ready to go. Be GM of the year.
You know, the draft actually starts a week from today, right?
I know. I love it.
Starts the day the offseason starts, gentlemen.
Exactly.
And we are going to be live doing that draft. We're going to be live. We got a little contest going on over here. So, I don't know. Maybe we should put some money up. I don't know. What do you think, Kenny?
And once I put the money up, I'm going to be dead last. But if you want, once money is involved, all my picks go right in the trash.
Prime, all the more reason. We got to do money. That's it. Perfect.
Absolutely. You know me, man. It's all about the dollar bills, man. It's all about the dollar bills. Whatever we else. It's the only thing I'd have to wire transfer you guys some money because we're so geographically separated. But I'm good for it.
I have a good idea. Why don't we, you know how we're going to do the fantasy draft all year too? We're going to be picking players here and there.
Yeah.
Why don't we make the winner of that, like the order of who gets to pick their fantasy draft every single week? That means if you come in last in this thing, you pick your third fantasy guy every time. What do you think?
Okay. All right,
Make it worse.
Over there, we're on to something. We are going to be doing fantasy all year long. It's going to be a lot of freaking fun. Great time. But we got the panel of 5 ready to go. Mock fucking draft city. Here we go. Ready to go. 1 through 32. We're doing all of them, but we're not going to do trades unless you guys want to get a little crazy. I don't even care. Let's fucking do it. Let's do trades. I don't care. If you want to do it, let's get it going. But we're going to go 1 through 32. All right. We got a freaking great panel over here. I'm ready to rock and roll. And I don't want to waste any of you guys' time. I don't want to talk about Aaron Rodgers. I really don't. And where he's going and retiring and what the – I don't give a shit, man.
Your boy's going to give you crap now because he always criticizes you guys can't get through an entire show without talking about Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
Yeah. So, we keep the streak going here.
Yeah, let's just get him out of the fucking way, all right? No more Aaron Rodgers.
As a Ravens fan, I feel bad for Steelers fans if he lands there.
Oh, jeez. Man.
Like,
God. Just go play in Canada or something like that. Go in the UFL.
He might. Hey, you imagine the ratings if he did that? If he went to the UFL,
He should do
the Panthers or the
He won't
Birmingham Barnstormers or whatever the hell they are. I
Barn-
actually watched some of those games, so I can't really make fun of them.
The UFL, like there's a million different nicknames you could pick from. Why did they have to have the Panthers? They have the Panthers in the NFL. They had what the
just
hell?
lazy.
I don't know. They were trying to because when they had the USFL, showing my age here, that's what they were. They were the Michigan Panthers when they had Bobby Hebert and Anthony Carter and all those guys back. Yeah, they were the Michigan Panthers back then. So they just probably wanted to just keep that same vibe going. I miss the Detroit Drive. I don't know about you guys. I miss the Detroit Drive Arena Football League. But anyway, I'm geeking out right now. Anyway, let's get this thing started.
Yeah, well, I mean, damn it, Niner. The Commanders had to change their name from the Redskins to the Commanders, and why not? Just change the damn name. Let's get it going.
Yeah.
They really need to change their name back because even the folk that there's folks actually suing them, Native Americans, because they took the name Redskins and changed it to Commanders.
Right. Sick. It's great.
So,
so what about what's with the Chiefs? Why can't the Chiefs go or the Braves or anything like that?
Well, the story about the Chiefs is that the Chief was actually the nickname of the mayor of Kansas City at the time. He was a guy who his nickname was Chief. And
Look at you smart little bastard that you are, coming out with this knowledge.
That is absolutely true. And then Florida State, the Seminole tribe actually likes that tribute, the whole thing that they do. So they actually have
State, you got to mention the active shooter today.
Right. They actually have the approval of the Seminole tribe for that. The Braves, the Cleveland Indians. I think more with the Indians, it was the mascot. I think that might have been a little.
And that's the only problem was, and then
but the name Indians. I mean, They don't call
Baseball's got
themselves
the
Indians.
shittiest names. Baseball's got the shittiest.
Exactly.
Mets.
They're not Indians. They're Native American. The Indians are
Exactly.
over there, Hindu technically.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
So
man.
that's
They
Columbus.
were here first. Fuck
Yep.
Columbus. Columbus
Yeah.
sucks. He's an
What's
asshole.
wrong with that guy?
What a
Vikings were
jerk.
here before Columbus.
And we celebrate him like he's a big freaking hero. The asshole went and killed out a whole bunch of indigenous people. What a jerk.
Yeah, with his
Oh,
sick.
there's
Yep.
when you study history, there are so many even worse people than Columbus now, like in Central America.
You're
Yeah.
right.
heads
You're
and
right.
shit.
Yeah, it's got ugly, man. Ugly is freaking hell. But let's get pretty over here. Let's do the mock draft, baby. Let's go. Let's go. We got it ready to roll. McNiner, you were up first. You were on the board. Let's see if the pick is in.
Oh,
We got the Tennessee.
This is going to be quick. It's Cam Ward
Cam
because
Ward.
he is the most polished quarterback in the draft, and the Titans haven't had a good quarterback since Donovan McNabb.
Yeah.
Or no, it wasn't McNabb. It was McNair.
Yeah, McNair.
Steve McNair.
Yeah,
Rest in
My
peace.
bad.
McNair. Before him, Warren Moon. But yeah, they got a bad history, man. They do. It's no good.
They do.
It's no
So
good.
they
actually
straight
had
up
to
go
move.
QB right here. Hopefully, their franchise guy, Cam Ward.
All right, there we go. Cam Ward, the consensus number one going off the board. I totally agree. If you don't have a quarterback, you ain't got shit. Tennessee's got to go get one. This guy seems to be the one right there. So,
Yep.
all right, Cam Ward off the board at number one. We go to Kenny Pickens with the second pick.
All right. With the second pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the Cleveland Browns will select, it's going to surprise you, Abdul Carter.
Okay.
With the
okay.
second pick, they got nothing going for them but some defense on one side. So put a little defense on the other side, make it hard for those quarterbacks in the AFC North to throw that ball, maybe stop the run, and have a chance to win a couple games.
All right, so Abdul Carter over Travis Hunter going bookends over there on the defensive end side, making hell for whoever the hell the quarterback's going to be in Pittsburgh. Lamar Jackson going to have to run around a little bit more. Going to be a lot of fun. I like it. Joe Burrow.
Poor Joe Burrow.
Yep, Joe Burrow can't be a statue back there. You got to move around a little bit. So
Yeah.
Abdul Carter.
Make them
over-
squirm. Make them squirm.
I dig it. I dig it. All right, Prime. That leaves it open. Ironically, you are drafting for your New York Giants. You were all set up. You got the gear on. You're ready to go. What pick do you make?
With the third pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the New York Giants select Shedeur Sanders out of Colorado. And I say that begrudgingly, but they have to do something. They have to. It's about putting butts in the seats. It's about making that splash move, and that's something that they really haven't had since they drafted Saquon. They're in dire need. I know they got Russell Wilson. I know they got Jameis Winston, but at the very best, those guys are bridge quarterbacks that'll probably be around for a year or two at the most. And there's no guarantee that, depending on what Shedeur does in training camp, there's no guarantee that Tommy Cutlets stays on the roster. There's no guarantee that Jameis Winston stays on the roster, depending on how Shedeur shows out in camp. So I'm not a big fan of the pick. I'm not a big fan of Shedeur Sanders, as we've talked about on the show. But if you're looking for a New York type of move, a prime time type of move, so to speak, no pun intended.
A Hollywood.
That's exactly the move that they make.
Like how Atlanta had Kirk Cousins, and they went and drafted Michael Penix that high in the draft. And I think the Shedeur pick, I think the Saints are putting a lot of pressure on him.
They really are. I've
They
heard
are.
that
Yeah,
too.
they're ones to draft up. And Levi, I'll go to you real quick on this pick. So Shedeur Sanders is being highly scouted by the New York Giants right now. They're having a pro day for him, but Tyler Shock also is going to be there. So you don't know, will the Giants draft back in, but will they take him at number 3? I mean, that is, again, a primetime move for Mr. Primetime 313 over here. If you want to get butts in the seats, he's exactly right. Get Shedeur Sanders.
Sell some jerseys, make some money.
Exactly.
I mean, I'd put like 25% chance on it because it's legitimate. They're scared of the Saints. There's going to be a lot of people battling, I think, to get back up into the end of this first round. It's what everyone wants to do. Everyone wants to be able to pass on the quarterback on these first picks and come back up, get that fifth-year option at the end.
Right.
Really cost them way less coming up from like 34 to 28, than coming up to very top 5 of the draft.
We saw how hard it was to move up from 12 to 3, man.
So New York, if they don't select Shedeur, they are going to be sweating in that draft room forever. But they have a weird story with Shedeur. They had the workout plan. They kind of like canceled it. Then they put it back on and flew out to Colorado to do a private workout with him, and then scheduled the one with Milroe not too long after.
They're also meeting with Milroe after that.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, so the Giants look to be on a quarterback, whether it's at 3 or they draft back in or it's in the second round, whatever. But prime time, I think your team definitely needs a quarterback. Got to go forward. Russell Wilson's not going to last a long time, so I'm with you on that one, no doubt. All right, so pick number 3 is in. Let's go to number 4. All right, now this is more my pick than what I think actually the Patriots are going to do. But I think it's a dynamite pick. It's something that they should do to help out their young quarterback and to also, not necessarily have that defense on the field all the time, which is a great defense. Mike Vrabel loves that defense, and they need a running game. Draft Ashton Jeanty. Just like Derrick Henry in Tennessee, defense, run game, go get Ashton Jeanty. That guy is dynamite. Nobody rushes for 2,600 yards who's abnormal. I mean, it's insane. So this guy is dynamite. He's a playmaker right away. I think that the Patriots would be well off getting Ashton Jeanty, guys. What do you think? Where's the reaction?
Shaking up the draft.
He's clear running back 1. There's a bunch of guys in 2. There's a bunch of great guys in 3, but he's clearly number 1. Only guy taking the first round, running back wise.
Yeah,
help a young quarterback. Give him a run. Give him a great running back. Give him a weapon.
My only knock on the pick: it's such a deep running back draft class, and that's how I'm about to explain that actually with my pick. With the
here we go. I like the little piece he's got going.
Real quick, so you picked Jeanty? So is Jeanty off the board for good, or we're still allowed to? Are we still allowed to pick it?
Oh, he's off the board.
He's
the goner. He's the goner.
Yeah, it's gonna shake up the draft.
Yeah, which is how it really turns out.
That's right. I love it because you never know. We all think that we're gonna know who's gonna go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Stevenson.
Oh shit.
No, I wouldn't call him a dog.
No, definitely
he's
not.
like White in Tampa is the best comparison. He's pretty reliable, but he's gonna barely squeak out 1,000, and it's gonna be hard.
Yeah, I wouldn't call him a dog.
He's not a big dog. He's like a Chihuahua or something like that.
They'll be behind a lot, so they'll have to throw the ball too. So.
Yeah.
One of those little dogs that shakes and pisses all the freaking time.
I want to say, whoever's in the chat, hello. I may not see any of those messages today because my computers are all open to draft shit, so I don't see the chat.
All right. Well, Under the Helmet saying that it was a crappy O-line. They beefed it up a little bit this year. Morgan Moses, a couple other guys, so we'll see how they do. But we are up to pick number 5, and that would be Darren's Raven. Where is he going to go? With the Jacksonville Jaguars.
For me, I know Mason Graham's been a really popular pick here. I love the dude. But it's one of those ones like the running back. It's such a deep class at that position that I can just find such great value later. With the 5th selection in the 2025 NFL Draft, the Jacksonville Jaguars select Jahdae Barron, cornerback from Texas. I got to get ahead of Miami on that pick.
Wow.
And he is by far the number 1 zone corner in this draft, and it's not even close. Will Johnson's got a different skill set than him.
Jahdae is my number 1 cornerback in this draft, ahead of Travis Hunter as well.
Dude, yeah, he is.
I actually had him
almost
going
have
farther down
70% zone usage at Texas too. If you run a heavy zone system, that's your guy.
Yeah, that's. I'm surprised you had him going that high. I had him going later in the draft. I still had him in the first round, but I had him going later in the draft. But wow, yeah, he's probably the best overall corner in the draft. Travis Hunter gets the hype because of who he is and who he played for. But we talked. Jason and I talked last night. It's sometimes it's about the steak and not the sizzle, and if you're looking for a solid corner, probably, he's not that big. That's my only problem with him. But if you can play football, you can play football. That's our theme on this show. Doesn't matter what you run or look like. if you can play football, you can play football. So
I love that it doesn't look like every other draft, too, guys. I love it.
Exactly.
So far, yeah. And McNiner, if you can get a shutdown corner, I mean, that's great wherever you draft.
Hey, he just took the guy I was going to pick for the Raiders.
That's what I'm saying. I am telling you.
This is how the
there are
draft
gonna be
actually
teams
goes,
that-
though.
Yeah.
Because
People
once he
now
goes,
are
the
shuffling
drop-off
papers
for
and
that
stuff.
skill set is so large in this draft class. There's some other guys that have similar, better sets to Will Johnson's than Barron's. But yeah.
I love it. I love it. All right. Baron off the board already at the Jacksonville Jaguars number 5. Darren's Raven going with that, and we are ready for our next pick at number 6. It would have been Baron, but McNiner's got to go somewhere else.
This is the Raiders, and Pete Carroll is now head coach. So, I was going to go Legion of Boom here, but now I'm actually going with Ted McMillan, wide receiver from Arizona.
Ooh, Gino's going to have fun.
That's exactly it. That they have their tight end, Brock Bowers, but their wide receivers aren't really that good. Now he's got 2 weapons he can throw to.
Nice. Yeah, Jacoby Myers is an okay player. He's pretty good, but you need a stud to step up and play. You know what? And
Gino's actually one of the better deep ball throwers in the league the past 2 years. His O-line crumbled really bad last year, especially on the right side. But when he can kind of plant his feet, deliver a deep ball, he's not bad.
Another weapon.
Few quarterbacks that got better over time. Really
I love options.
I love it. Beautiful. All right. Pick 6 is in. We're going to pick number 7 now for the New York Jets and their new look quarterback in Justin Fields. Can't wait to see what Kenny's got for these guys.
Listen, this is fun now because everything has changed now. And so I'm looking at pick 7 here for the New York Jets, and I think they're going to go Kelvin Banks, offensive tackle, Texas.
All right.
That O-line is going to be real nice with Fashanu and Kelvin Banks. And we got Bustin Fails over there, and he's going to have a shot to raise his stock and make people remember who he is. Remember when he was picked and what he was supposed to be on a good team.
Yeah, Kelvin Banks does not give up sacks. I think he gave up 1.5 over the past 2 years or something like that.
And I blamed that one on yours.
Yeah, I don't know why he's here, right? Really, I don't know why he's falling so much. I don't get it, but he is one of the top offensive linemen in this league, and
and I think he's the highest rated offensive lineman on College Football 25. I think he's like a 96 or a 97.
And CBS Sports and Draft Buzz.
That is so important to understand these guys' Madden ratings and their College Football 25 ratings. That's like the single most important variable that you can measure a guy with. So, yeah, but he's like 96 or 97.
Today, there were multiple O-linemen on the panel at CBS Sports when they did their live draft. They love Kelvin Banks. There was no issue with it. They had no problem with it.
I think he's the number 1 left tackle.
He's got one of the longest wingspans in the entire draft, if not the biggest. So there you go.
Yeah,
he's 6'5", 315, man.
And people talk about Membo.
Really great production.
No doubt. People talk about Membo and Campbell with his short little arms over there that everybody thinks is going to be a basketball son. We'll see. All right, let's get to our next pick. The pick is in for the Carolina Panthers. And Mr. Primetime is on it, the GM. All right, Tepper, what do you got?
Here's the thing with the Carolina Panthers, man, is that they need so much right now. They need every, you name the position, they need it. But I'm thinking they're going to go. I think they're going to try to get some more weapons for Bryce Young. So I'm looking at Tyler Warren for the Carolina Panthers.
Wow.
Going to the number 8 overall. I know it's kind of a reach. And it's actually, and we talked about it previously, this is actually not a bad draft for tight ends. And I know, people talk about reaching up, value, this, that, and the other. But something like a guy like Tyler Warren, you're talking impact. And I think right now, he can occupy 2 or 3 guys in the middle of that field, man, and make life so much easier for Bryce Young and a team that needs everything that you can think of. I think if you start with your quarterback and you start building some weapons around him, if you don't take a wide receiver, You're not going to take a running back that high. You're not going to go like Hampton or anybody like that. But I could see a scenario where the Carolina Panthers take Tyler Warren 8th overall.
Yeah, and listen, you get yourself offensive line help too, right? Because he's on the end there.
Right.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah, he's a big dude out of Penn State, no doubt. Kenny, I like the pick over there because a young quarterback, one of their best friends is tight end. A big body over the middle. Let me see you. And even though Bryce Young is like 4'11", they'll be able to get him the ball.
Yeah, they took Tavion Sanders from Texas in the 4th round last year, but he definitely didn't perform what they thought he was going to.
Yeah, but he might this year.
Yeah, he was touted as a 2nd round guy. I wasn't a huge.
He was always someone I had on my watch list when I was doing fantasy, just in case, something happened. Yeah, I was waiting for it, but
yeah,
get that.
I thought it was good value at 4th round, to be honest. Great value.
No doubt. All right, which brings us to the number 9 pick, New Orleans Saints. All right. Being the way this draft is going, it's a little bit harder for me to make this pick, but as I look,
sure it took a left turn at Albuquerque.
Yeah, right. No kidding.
Right. Travis Hunter's still on the board. Some team's coming up in a trade.
No doubt.
This doesn't shock me at all. So.
All right. So how Travis Hunter is still on the board doesn't make any sense, but how the New Orleans Saints don't take him is beyond me. I cannot believe this guy fell this far. But obviously, you got to take a guy who could be a shutdown corner and get maybe 15 to 20 plays on offense and make an impact. So, you know what? Travis Hunter, what a freaking steal for the New Orleans Saints.
Value pick, falling that far, you got to do it for a team that's in dire straits, in my opinion. You ain't beating Tampa Bay. You better do something special.
You got that right, man. You got that right. And he can do something special on both sides of the ball. That's a huge pick right there. What they're going to do with quarterback, we'll find out later. Sanders off the board. Maybe they'll draft back in. We'll see. But they do need a quarterback. There's no doubt about it.
Kellen Moore won't hate having somebody on the offense there to help either.
Oh, no. It's a beautiful thing. Gotta love it. Gotta love it. All right. So here we go. Next pick is in. If my chime is working. Bing, bing, bing. All right. Darwin's Raven, Mr. Levi. Picking for the Chicago Bears.
I wanted Tyler Warren. So bad. I can't take the other guy here, but I am still pretty happy about it. Some might consider this a reach, but I think he'll work great in their 4-3 system. The Chicago Bears select Jalen Walker.
Big time.
Wow.
There you go.
Pair him up with Tremaine Edmonds, because Tremaine can play the middle of that defense. What's his name? Noah Sewell, the linebacker out of Oregon, like their 6th round pick a few years ago, playing really bad. They need someone that can play a little edge and off ball, and I think they're happy for it.
I like it. I like McNiner. I think that he's one of the better players in this draft. I mean, it was him and Mikael Williams on the defensive ends at Georgia, but Jalen Walker really standing out. I like that pick that Darwin made there.
I do. I love that.
He's very versatile.
Ben Johnson fixed that.
He almost
puts
you in the mind of like
a center in the free agency. They fixed their own line.
Yeah, I think he kind of puts me in the mind of like a poor man's Micah Parsons.
Exactly. That's exactly my comparison.
The way that he can move around and the way that he just, just explodes off the line of scrimmage. He's hard to block. He's not the biggest guy in the world, which I think actually works to his advantage when you're dealing with these 6'6", offensive linemen. He's too powerful for a back to block him one-on-one. And he's that piece, man, that you can just move anywhere on the defense, and he's going to raise some hell. I love that pick. That pick.
Great.
No doubt.
Or Jared Goff.
I think I may love the next pick that McNiner's going to make.
McNiner's got options.
McNiner, there's a couple of guys that fell to us over the years, so I'm curious where you're going with this one. With our San Francisco 49ers at number 1.
Here we go.
We got Mason Graham still on the board. We
yes.
got Will Campbell, Armand Membo.
Oh,
we got. I mean, I'm not high on Shamar Stewart, and maybe whoever picks him, I'll definitely let you know why, unless he falls all the way out. I mean, I got everybody. We got Walter Nolan. We got Kenneth Grant. We got Pierce.
The world is your
Williams.
oyster.
This is like a smorgasbord of what the hell do I do?
Nice. I would have messed that word up if I tried.
I think the edge of this draft class, I have never seen the draft grades in the first round on one position group so vastly different. Like, I feel like in my entire year of drafting, like, you know, some people have Mike Green #1. Some people have, you know, there's tons of people like between Skirt and Ezeraku, Green.
Mike Green Mike Green led the FPS in sacks. I think he had 17 sacks.
17 sacks.
Yeah.
That's right.
He actually has a first round. He has a first round grade in a lot of draft. I actually, for what it's worth, I actually have him going in the first round in our mock draft. So
I think a lot of people do.
I was talking, well, Kenny, yesterday was it? Mike Green. The thing is this: if you're looking. Last year, the #1 speed to power guy in the draft was Jared Verse, and we saw how that turned out for the Rams. Mike Green is that guy. There is no other guy, I feel like, in this first round class that has the speed to power conversion, and that's taken away to Senior Bowl tape.
Hey, Kenny, tell everybody who your partner picked over here for the Rookie Defensive Player of the Year last year.
Jared Verse, day one.
No,
before the summer, bro. It was like in the bag.
I was in that shit, man.
They had, Braden Fisk, Kobe Turner, and then Byron Young, their third round pick out of Tennessee last year. He walked into a great situation. That's a great core of young players.
No doubt. And they draft late. We'll see where they go. But right now, McNiner is on the 49ers with the smorgasbord, as he said, of picks to go.
Yeah. So, you know, at this point, it's like, you know, the Niners, we hardly ever pick up this high. So, and obviously on the left side of our line, we got Trent Williams, but he's not getting any younger, right?
Yep.
So I'm going Armand Membo.
I like it
because he can slide in at left guard right off the bat. And, you know, if Trent Williams, I'll say, has an ankle injury, which is very likely to happen, they can swing him over to left tackle and bring one of these other guys that have played guard, Burford, Zakel, you know, or Ben Barnes. They could bring one of those guys into play guard.
Yeah, no doubt. Yo, prime time, he's been a beast, man. He's been an absolute beast. You know, you see him at right tackle doing his thing. He can move around the offensive line. And I think if the 49ers get him at that late a time, that's a pretty good steal right there. Because, again,
I love that pick.
Yeah, Kenny, you know it. You want to build from the inside out. Prime, you like that pick?
I absolutely love that pick. I think we talked, you know, like you said, the 49ers, Trent, you know, for as great as he is, he's kind of injury prone. And if you can do something to solidify, you know, with a young guy coming like Membo, just coming in, stepping right in, even if you move him to guard for a couple of years until Trent retires or gets injured and can't play anymore, whatever the case, and you slide him back over to tackle potentially. I love the pick. I think he's probably one of the most versatile offensive linemen in the draft. So that'd be a hell of a pick. And I know a lot of Niners fans probably wouldn't go for that because it's not a sexy pick. But you know what? Sometimes you got to pick what you need, and you're getting ready to pay Brock Purdy all this money. You need to protect Christian McCaffrey because you know we know how his injury history. But if you can get a guy like Membo and his versatility, he could play probably across all 5 positions on the offensive line. I absolutely love that pick.
Yeah, no doubt. Well done, McNiner. I like that. I wouldn't mind getting him at all. Not mind getting him at all. All right, now we go to our hated rivals, Kenny. You have to pick for the freaking Dallas Cowboys, man. Just go ahead and pick like I don't know, like Mr. Irrelevant or something like that.
Okay.
We don't want to get anybody.
Okay, hold on. Who's the best? Who's the worst kicker available?
Luckily, it's a deep defensive tackle class, or I would have, jumped the gun and grabbed Mason Graham, who David and I really don't love as much as Kenneth Graham. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a Dallas. I'm going to have Dallas do a Dallas thing and take Matthew Golden, wide receiver.
Oh,
from
that's
Texas.
not a bad pick, Kenny.
Who's that?
State.
Yes, sir.
That's totally a Dallas pick too.
That's a Dallas.
It is.
Look at all these great trench players still on the board. Okay, we're taking a wide receiver.
I mean, they do have a history of drafting a first-round wide receiver. I mean, let's go back all the way to Des Bryant days, and then passing on him, not really paying him eventually, and then drafting another first-round guy.
Yeah, that's. How can, guys, real quick, how can Jerry Jones, who's been doing this, and I know just because you've been doing something for a long time doesn't mean you do it right, but how does,
glad you said that.
How does somebody in the room not say, Jerry, look, you can't do this. we need to pick players that are going to make an impact, that we actually need. You can use help on your offensive line. You can use help in your, in your secondary. You can use help on, I guess wide receiver, somebody to complement CeeDee Lamb, who I've never really been that high on. But at the same time, you look at the Cowboys, and that would be such a Cowboy move because, he's from Texas. He's, it's a flashy pick. And that's what Jerry's always all about. He's all about the flashy pick instead of actually going out and getting what they actually need.
Yeah.
It is fast. He can make an impact. We'll see. Is it the number one need of the Cowboys? No, probably not, but they're dumb. And we talked about that, and that's why they did it.
Yep.
Cowboys, God. All right. Who do we got up? Prime time. You're up.
With at 13, the Dolphins.
The Miami Dolphins.
Yeah, Jalen Ramsey possibly on the way out.
And that's exactly what I was looking at that too. So real quick, I have them taking Will Johnson.
Yeah.
I have them taking Will Johnson out of Michigan. He fell to number 13. If he did indeed fall that far, they would be kind of silly not to take him. Plus, Kenny's favorite argument with Will Johnson is the turf toe. So if he's going to Miami, he's playing on natural grass. Kind of like, and not, it's not the field turf that he played with at Michigan, but I think it'd be a little more friendly for his toes, his little tootsies there. Miami, like you said, potentially losing Jalen Ramsey. You have somebody come slide right in. Will Johnson, 6'1", he's a pick six waiting to happen. Of course, I love him as being a Michigan Wolverine fan my entire life. And I think if he fell that far, I think Miami would absolutely jump at the chance to get him.
No
great move.
Yep. That would be a great move. Again,
after him, huge drop.
Yeah.
That's a huge. Yep, no doubt. A lot of people have him mocked toward the Saints if they don't go quarterback. So, I like that pick right there. Very well done. I like it. They need a cornerback. They need a lot of things.
Yeah.
They lost Javon Holland this year at safety, so you know what? They need a lot of shit. All right.
So bad. Their edge just can't stay healthy. That's their problem for 2 years straight.
God. You ain't kidding. All right. So I do get the Indianapolis Colts at pick number 14. Talk about a team that
the Daniel Jones led Indianapolis Colts.
Yeah, really. Oh my God. Maybe they should get him some help. I'm torn between a couple of guys, but the fact that Mason Graham is still on the board right now, and you can plug him in next to guys like DeForest Buckner or whatever like that, and just wreak havoc on the
value. The value.
Yeah, Mason Graham, great value with number 14. Got to go with him.
Him next to DeForest Buckner, that would actually be a perfect fit for him because he had Kenneth Grant next to him at Michigan.
Nice, right? Exactly. Good call. So there's a couple of guys I thought of, but overall, I mean, this guy again. When defensive tackles are ranked in like the top 7, 8, 9, 10, that's kind of abnormal. You don't see that a lot. The edge rushers, wide receivers, quarterbacks, guys like that. But the fact that he is that highly touted makes me think that he's going to be a really good player. So, I'm going to go Mason Graham with the Colts at number 14, which brings us to number 15. The Atlanta Falcons are up, and Levi, you got the pick.
This one is a tough one. They really do need a starting defensive tackle in the middle of that defense. They took a bunch of edge and D linemen last year, but man, they could really use a safety as well. But I think this is where we see Walter Nolan come off the board here, number 15.
Oh, wow.
I could see it. I could see that.
The talent in the draft class is quickly dropping off. And this is about that range where we're talking about you could probably get a second-round guy that has comparable value.
No, it's a good pick.
There's a couple guys left.
Walter Nolan at Ole Miss, again, not known for their defense necessarily, but he stood out as a defensive tackle. So he's a really good player. I like that. That's a good pick right there. Good pick. All right, we are almost halfway through the draft right now as we get to number 16 and the Arizona Cardinals and Mr. McNiner. You got to pick for one of our rivals, buddy. So
yes,
try to be objective.
I will, Kenny. I will. So they desperately need offensive line help. Now, their head coach is a former Eagles DC, and they had a great pass rush.
Yeah.
And, on the board here, we got Will Campbell. We got Shamar Stewart. We also got Josh Simmons. So, two of the top offensive linemen. Will Campbell, though, can play guard or tackle.
Right.
So, and that's 100% where I'm going is they're going to take Will Campbell. They're going to, and, he's a tall offensive lineman, so no one's going to see that ball until it's thrown and coming out now.
I like
more value.
You got Kyler Murray back there. You can't see him anyway.
Great pick.
Yeah, great pick, right, Kenny? That's great value. That deep down, short arms or nothing. I don't care. The guy showed he could play.
He's
So
been playing, and he will be playing for a long time.
I like it. I like it. Well done right there. All right, good pick from Connor. All right, Kenny, that brings us to you. You're next up.
This is an easy one. I don't got to do anything but yell the name Mike Green to the Bengals with their first pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, and they're going to like that pick if they keep Trey Hendrickson.
Mike Green, man. Again, maybe one of the more underrated players in this draft. He's not getting as much love because he went to Marshall, but damn, the guy could play. As we mentioned before, 17 sacks, Kenny, right?
Hey, and you know what? There's some rumors about some stuff, but it's very vague, So you don't know who to believe. You don't know what's true. So I don't want to fault the guy on that. He's definitely one of the best edges in this draft, and the Bengals can use that. They need the defense.
No doubt.
I've done research. They didn't even investigate.
Yeah.
Like the rumors.
Sometimes this stuff gets
too much
swept under the
detail.
rug.
We'll say that there was no investigation. There were no charges. And that's pretty much where you have to leave it.
Uh-oh. Somebody doesn't like the Jags pick.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. Somebody don't like a shutdown corner. All right.
Nah, Barron plays everywhere.
Barron can play anywhere.
And he can even kind of like in a cover 3 drop. He has the speed to get back there in a cover 3 scheme.
Yeah, and listen, Liam Cohen's going to be taking care of the offense now, so you don't got to worry about that.
But
I guess, dude, you and Liam Cohen. I mean, I don't know what's going on with you and him.
What is it with him, Jay? What is it with him?
I don't get it. Do you guys know about this? His love affair, his man
That's Levi's godfather.
He's got an absolute man crush on Liam Cohen. It's
Kenny Pickett, sponsored by Liam Cohen.
That's why Bucky Irving did so good, if you ask me, and Tampa last year. That's just what I think. I could be wrong. We'll see what happens in Jacksonville.
Has nothing to do with his running ability at all. No, has nothing to do with
it. I was saying it early, if you guys remember, in the pick'ems, that I was watching Tampa, and these plays were so good. They were opening up holes. They were making all these options. I loved it, and they looked really good on offense.
They had a big-time offense, man. I'm not going to take that away from you.
And I want to make the point with Barron. So Barron played slot freshman and sophomore year, but senior year basically moved full-time outside, 679 snaps outside, 122 inside, 12 on the D-line, 142 in the box, 15 deep. He plays everywhere.
You're getting all the points, pardon the interruption. I'm giving you all the points.
Corners in a little way I like defensive linemen. You can never have enough. You can do it, go for it. All right.
Seattle.
Oh, yeah.
Seattle is up. Oh, boy. Prime time. You got to pick one of my rivals over here. All right, Seattle Seahawks. They can go in a whole bunch of different directions, man. What do you got?
Well, with the Seattle Seahawks, the problem is it's a blessing and a curse when you can go so many different directions. If it's a blessing because there's still a lot of decent talent on the board, but it's a curse because when you can go so many ways, it means your team has a lot of holes to fill.
True.
So with the Seattle Seahawks, I actually have them going Greg Zabel, the interior lineman from Dakota State. He's big, to have a guard that's 6'6", 312 pounds. I think the new era, the Geno-less era of the Seattle Seahawks. I think you got to protect your quarterback. You got to, they got a pretty decent running game with Kenneth Walker and Zach Charbonnet, and they don't have Metcalf anymore. But I think Seattle is they're not starting over. They're not blowing it up and starting over. They probably still think they have a shot in that division, which I absolutely don't think they do. But, you go offensive lineman. It may be a reach, I also had them maybe taking like a running back or maybe even a tight end like Mason Taylor or Elijah Arroyo from Miami. But I think if they don't do that, I can see a world where they pick an offensive lineman. And Gray Zabel's actually very highly rated on a lot of people's draft boards. So I don't think it might be a reach at 18 guys, but if that's what you need, that's what you need.
You know why it's not a reach? Because this is your first round pick, and he won't be there when you pick again. So that's fine.
Makes sense. There you go. Hey, no, not a bad pick at all. Gray Zabel, look, if you can get an offensive lineman that can play on the interior and on, offensive tackle as well, that's a great thing. So Gray Zabel, yeah, he may be going down a little bit in other drafts, but I got no problem with that pick at all.
He started as a right tackle, then moved to guard, and then finished out with his best year as left tackle.
He can swing. He can swing for a tackle in a pinch. It's not a problem. You know what I mean?
Yep.
He can pick up a tackle.
No, good pick.
Yeah.
Good pick. I like it.
Yeah.
All right. That brings us to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. What an interesting team, man. Baker Mayfield, little resurgence over there. He's got some help with, again, Godwin and Mike Evans and Bucky Irving. I mean, so they got a lot of offense. So
they don't have Liam Cohen anymore, though.
That's the problem. That's the problem.
What is what? I missed it.
I said they don't have Liam Cohen anymore.
Oh yeah.
So
I love it.
So what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do?
They can use a few different guys over here. Man, in my mock draft, I had them actually trading back a little bit with the Chargers, who needed wide receiver desperately. But I'm looking right now, and you know what? Defense, Mikael Williams, defensive end out of Georgia, I think he makes a lot of sense for that team. You got to pressure the quarterback. Again, not the greatest division in the entire world against the South, but right now, Tampa Bay is on top of that division, and in order to stay on top, I think you'll need to get players like this who can rush the quarterback. So I'll go Mikael Williams out of Georgia.
Excellent.
You like that pick, Kenny?
Did you take him in the other draft last week, Jason?
For Tampa Bay?
Yeah.
For Tampa Bay, I took. Let me see. Let me get down real quick.
No,
actually, you know what? You know what I had? I had Jahad Campbell, who I do like a lot.
Even though I said that usually Atlanta doesn't take Georgia Bulldogs, but I made the exception for Mikael Williams.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. And that's weird. You think in Georgia you'd want to pick your own kind of players, but okay, all right, Atlanta. Arthur Blank, maybe a blank mind.
Their own, you know.
All right, Levi, you are up. The Denver Broncos, one of the more interesting picks in this draft. I'm curious.
Who he's gonna pick?
I'm curious who's gonna pick.
And I'm sorry, who did the Tampa Bay Bucks select? I'm so sorry.
Mikael Williams.
Mikael Williams. Okay, thank you. So this pick, of course, Omarion Hampton's been mocked here a ton. I'm not a super big fan of taking him in the first round. They really don't have a lot of holes. They had almost no free agents this year. Of course, they brought in Hufanga and Greenlaw. The thing is, they've got so much cap money next year. Their young defensive players played really well. They have the ability to keep all their homegrown players next year. They're in a great position.
Didn't they also bring in Evan Ingram at tight end?
Yes, sir. And I had tight end as their number one need till that pick.
I think Giant great.
I'm going to draft here Malaki Starks, the safety out of Georgia. I'm going to try to – they already have a great strong safety in Jones, who's one of the better ones in the league. By drafting Starks, I think it'll allow me to use Hufanga down closer to the line of scrimmage where I feel like he had his best years for the Niners.
Two Georgia Bulldogs in a row. Nice.
Yeah, the Bulldogs are freaking growling right now, no doubt. Malachi Starks, definitely one of the top safeties in this draft, and you know what happened there? 20? Not a bad deal. And again, you're dealing with Patrick Mahomes, Justin Herbert, now Geno Smith, among other quarterbacks that are going to be playing this year. So you know what? Yeah, you need to have a good secondary, and sometimes a good secondary can make up for a mediocre defensive line, which I think they may be a little bit above average, Denver. But
they were a team nobody talked about last year.
There's not a lot of there's no household names on Denver's on their.
But they silently played really well.
Even McGlinchey played well over there.
And I'll tell you what,
So,
a little known fact, Bo Nix, second most touchdowns thrown by a quarterback in this rookie season.
Which is amazing because I'm sure he's
behind who?
the rookie
Behind
record
who?
Denver rookie.
Another Oregon quarterback. The other guy I was extremely high on coming out of the draft was Justin Herbert.
That's
And
right.
I think Baker Mayfield's third on that list. 31 for Justin, 29 for Bo, 27 for Baker Mayfield.
O was actually rated as one of the highest intermediate passers in that last draft class, but the numbers that always caught me were his big time throws, and he beat blitzes nonstop in Oregon. If you blitz
Can't
him,
do
you
it.
made him pay.
Can't
And
blitz him.
that transitions to the
I
NFL
love-
real fucking well. Excuse
I
my
love
language.
Bo like Kenny loves Liam Cohen. I love the Oregon quarterbacks. I love
Hey,
Bo.
they play well, man. They do, no doubt. All right.
Duval.
Number 21. The 21st pick in the draft, and definitely one of the most intriguing in the draft.
I've only got 3 first-round
The
great guys left on
Pittsburgh
the board.
Steelers.
That will be the Pittsburgh Steelers, McNiner. Wow, where are you going to go on this one?
So, you know, the top 2 quarterbacks are off the board.
Yeah.
A couple years ago, the Steelers took a guy, Kenny Baby Hands Pickett, currently with the Browns, right? But all the quarterbacks that are left, they could more than likely get their guy in the second round. So why pick him in the first round, right?
Yeah.
So at this point, having a defensive-minded head coach, I'm going Kenneth Grant here.
Nice.
Wow.
Nice. Put him next to Cam Hayward. Ooh, you got problems.
Yeah.
And then you got TJ Watt there too. I mean, you're gonna have you definitely have problems.
Bring that.
That's
that
insane,
back.
McNiner. That's almost unfair, McNiner. To have that's not fair at all.
They're putting up Drake this year, and it's a steel curtain. That's what I'm thinking.
And they
I'm
took
telling
Keanu
you, man.
Benton out of Wisconsin, the second round pick a few years ago as well. So their 3 with him on that line is
That's-
fucking terrifying.
I feel sorry for Joe Burrow because he can't move, and Lamar might lose about 40 pounds over the course.
Literally, Kenneth Grant is probably the one guy to take on double teams in this draft, probably better than anybody.
I've taken him
And-
at left sometimes, so I know. I love that.
He's
There's
a
some
nice
people
kid.
had him higher than Mason Graham. There's a lot of people, especially up here, that thought that he
I
was
do.
actually a
Me
better
too.
defensive tackle than
Freak lift, baby.
Mason Graham. So
McNiner, great pick right
that's
there,
not,
man.
that's
I
not
love
fair.
it.
That's
I
awesome.
love it.
I love it.
The steel curtain is coming back, baby. I love it.
Ooh.
Great
Now I
job,
kind of want to see that. I'm kind of in my head.
Yeah.
I
right?
don't, dude.
I wanna see
TJ Watt and Highsmith already keep me up at night, man.
Yeah, man. No,
All I
I
need is
know.
A
AFC North. is very
340-pound D tackle that can run 70 yards downfield at the speed of a linebacker. No thanks.
I love
I want
it.
him for the Ravens, honestly.
Here
So
comes the
bad.
pain. Here comes the pain.
Well done, McNiner. Yep, here we go. Here it
Love
comes.
his pain.
Kenny Pickens is up.
Oh, that's-
Here it is.
This is an easy pick, Kenny.
For the Los Angeles Chargers.
I'm up
Jim
for the
Harbaugh.
Chargers. All
You're on the
right.
Chargers.
Well, I mean, this is an easy one now because he fell. I thought he'd be gone by now. Colston Loveland, tight end, Michigan.
Awesome.
It's
Welcome
that's a
to
no-brainer.
Los Angeles, sir.
Awesome pick. Awesome pick. The fact that he fell this far in our mock draft is great for Justin Herbert. They need a guy to go along with Lam McConkey, and whether it be a receiver or a tight end. I love this pick. Yo,
That's
prime
out of
time.
this kid.
This
I
makes
don't
a
think he's
lot of
first-round
sense.
pick.
absolutely. There's no way. There's absolutely no way in the world if Colston Loveland falls to the Chargers at 22, Harbaugh is not passing him up. If Jim Harbaugh had 15 picks in the first round, 14 of those guys would be from Michigan, and the 15th guy would be from Indianapolis, probably, from Indiana. There's no way. There's no way Jim Harbaugh passed him, and he's not. Statistically, he's not the best tight end in the draft. He was hurt a little bit this year. He only had 600-700 yards, maybe passing or receiving 500-600 yards. But the speed, the athleticism, the versatility, you put him in a slot, he can occupy the middle of the field. Justin Herbert's going to have big time fun, and I think that's probably one of the maybe 3 or 4 when you look at mock drafts overall, that pick is like similar across everybody's draft board because there's no way Harbaugh has to.
I have not been in love with that pick. I don't personally think Loveland's a first round tight end. I think there is only one in this draft, but there is great tight ends.
Well, just remember when George Kittle was taken.
I see this pick happening.
Sharp was taken.
He's got one of the worst contested catch rates in this draft. He's got one of the higher drop rates. His run blocking's not great. Like
he'll be catching passes from Justin Herbert.
His average yards per route run is 2.67 yards.
In his defense, last year's quarterback play was probably as bad as anybody in college football. So you know Alex Orji and
he did have better numbers last year.
Davis Warren and all these guys. Their quarterback play was really, really bad.
And look, George Kittle, 5th round.
Hey,
Shannon Sharp, 7th round.
And I didn't necessarily have Loveland as if the Chargers weren't picking in the first round, Loveland probably wouldn't be a first round pick.
I would make a friendly wager. I don't have money. I would make a friendly wager.
I don't have money.
I think Mason Taylor will end up a better tight end than Colston Loveland.
I love it. I'm not gonna. You know what? I'm not gonna argue that.
I know because they're very similar.
But the problem is with Harbaugh. The problem with Harbaugh is that Harbaugh is going to make sure that Loveland is a focal point of that offense. So, you know, he'll probably end up. You know, he might end up with 50, 60 catches his first year. But overall, I do think I like Mason Taylor. I've watched a few LSU guys. I really like him. He's huge, first of all, and you know, he's better contested catch. He might be a better overall athlete than.
It also always depends.
I'm just saying it's just because it's
Loveland will play like you're saying succeed because he'll be highlighted in the system.
Yeah, I agree.
Mason Taylor might end up buried on a depth chart somewhere.
We'll see. Well, we do know that the Chargers need a pass catcher. No doubt about that. So we'll see where they go. Maybe it is Colston Loveland that's available. All right, maybe so. All right, Prime, we are up to you. Here we go. The Green Bay Packers, another one of your rivals over there, as Prime is a Giant fan and a Lion fan. And
I hate it. I hate the Packers with everything, every fiber of my being. It goes back. But I was a Brett Favre fan, so I like Brett Favre just because he was reckless. But,
hard not to like him.
Everybody in the world knows that other guy that succeeded him. I hate him. I can't stand the guy. Saying his name makes me gag.
Did you like Don Mikowski?
Say his name, he'll show up some eye.
Did you like Don Mikowski?
I don't want to totally show my age here. This is already a dead giveaway.
And the original Magic Man.
If I'm the Green Bay Packers, I need a little bit of help on my offensive line. So I'm going to go Josh Connerly Jr. out of Oregon.
Ooh, I like that.
There's a lot of you know, we always tease about Green Bay's receiver room, and there's like 96 guys that you know that Jordan Love can throw the ball to. But the problem, I think, one of the things last year, and I think it was overlooked by a lot of people, was the fact that the offensive line really let him down on a lot of occasions. You know, I watched probably 10 Packers games last year, unfortunately, and you know, I think they go offensive line. It could be Josh Simmons out of Ohio State, but you know, the Oregon line, they seem to fare very well in the NFL. I originally had him going to the Rams, but I think just seeing how the draft has progressed amongst us, I can see them going up and grabbing Connerly Jr. out of Oregon.
Connerly's been creeping up the board too. If you pay him,
so that's my pick for the Packers.
Yeah,
I was gonna pick, like McNiner said, the worst kicker available, but I couldn't.
I agree with you, Primetime. If you're looking for a tackle right now, and of course, more pass offense, he's by far the number one guy on the board.
Yeah, and you want to protect your star quarterback, or what they think is a star quarterback. I'm not as high as other people. I don't love Jordan Love, no pun intended.
Has someone told the Giants that? Primetime.
Oh.
And what's worse is the owner of the Giants literally said that 2 years ago to defend Dan Jones. He said, well, we got to defend our guy if he's back there running for his life. And then they, in my opinion, didn't really take care of the problem.
But the Giants' offensive line has been atrocious for 20 years, so you know,
you're not wrong.
It hasn't been a strong suit.
Too many teams ignore the offensive line.
Yeah, they've had a rotating. They've had turnstiles.
We have a saying in Baltimore:
for years.
don't pay the running back, pay the guys that block for him.
There you go. That's right. Exactly. Again, the best teams built from the inside out. Look at the Philadelphia Eagles last year. Best offensive line, best defensive line, arguably. And then you add the pieces around them. Come on now, man. No wonder why they freaking killed
Dallas is best.
Hold on. Who'd you pick for the Packers?
Josh
I
Connerly.
picked Josh Connerly Jr. from out of Oregon.
He's 34th, ranked 34th. He's a little further down the chart.
Yeah, but you can never run out of offensive linemen.
No, and I don't look at the rankings
This is
too
where
much.
it's going to get
Just
into.
making sure he's actually
Not accurate.
the thing is he's solid, and they literally took a tackle out of Arizona last year and moved him to guard.
Mm-hmm.
So you just invested how much into Jordan Love? So you got to protect him.
For
Similar
10
to what the situation the Niners are about to be in.
There you go. You ain't kidding about that one right there. No doubt. And I think that you were the one that selected Armand Membos. So you know what? Good start right there. I like it. All right, moving along to the Minnesota Vikings. Tough one over here for a team that has just about everything. Will Aaron Rodgers go there? I know we mentioned his name again. Shit, sorry, my bad. Move on from that. But
That's a paddling.
They love J.J. McCarthy, and if he's healthy, he's going to start and he's going to play. And you know what? Aaron Jones is getting a little bit long in the tooth over there. I know that not everybody loves Omarion Hampton. They think maybe he's a second-round running back. But I think this guy does a lot for you, not just running the ball, but catching the ball. So I think Omarion Hampton, running back out of North Carolina, would be a really good piece to this Minnesota Vikings team, who's got a lot of talent already. And again, you want to help out your running back. So yeah, maybe you want to draft offensive line. I can understand that. Josh Simmons, a couple other guys out there. But I like Omarion Hampton, instant playmaker. So I'm going to pick him for the Vikings.
Can I real quick, let me tell you why I love that pick. They drafted a running back last year who I had on my friggin' bench for the whole year of fantasy, and he did nothing. Anytime he went in there, he came in, he didn't really do anything. And so it was all on Aaron Jones. And so I like it. I like it.
Yeah, Aaron
He's
Jones,
a good pass catcher too. He had almost 400 yards receiving. So
wow, see that?
He does bring some versatility. Plus, when you're playing against, teams like the Lions, who's secondary until we see how they're going to do this year is kind of questionable. We'll see what happens with Jair Alexander's situation in Green Bay. Chicago kind of beefing up a little bit, but if you can get a guy like that versatile out of the backfield, kind of like your version of Jahmyr Gibbs, maybe not as fast, but still has all the versatility. I think the NFC North, the more versatile you are, especially with your running backs and your receivers, I think Philly. I have them going higher too.
Yeah,
but
everyone
I think
has them going to Denver
with your running backs. Yeah, that's who I had them too, Levi. That's why I had them going to Denver. So in my official draft, but
yeah, I did
go uniform like Mason Graham going to Jacksonville.
Oh no, I took a wide receiver for Denver. I took a wide receiver.
Hey, a good running game, like I said earlier, helps your young quarterback.
I had Denver, bro. I took
they do have Aaron Jones. They actually traded for Jordan Mason with the Niners.
Right.
So now they have another running back they can throw in the mix.
But Jordan Mason got hurt immediately after he was given the starting role. He hurt his shoulder, and I don't want anybody with a hurt shoulder on my team. Period.
The thing about Mason is, and don't get me wrong, this is okay. He's a downhill runner, and he's a physical runner, so he's going to get banged up during the course of the year. But no, you made great points, Niner. Great point.
Puts me in the mind of David Montgomery a little bit for the Lions. That's who Jordan Mason kind of reminds me of is David Montgomery.
I want my running backs to go around, not through them. That's just me.
It's a good comp.
That's why you keep more than keep a couple, 2, 3. But because McCaffrey, I don't see him making it through this season without getting hurt.
And includes your to another injury, which he was injured already. You got running.
Yes, no doubt about it. Yeah, McCaffrey getting a running back for the 49ers in round 3, 4, maybe one of the Ohio State guys if they fall that low. Yeah, we'll see. Possibly.
Good Edwards.
All right, Levi, you got a tough pick here right now. You
So-
are on the Houston Texans. Which
Is this an
Ooh.
obvious one? This looks like an obvious one. We'll see what Levi
I
does.
already,
I know.
hope it's
Hold on.
not
I want
it.
to Kenny. Where do you think I'm going here?
I think you're going to go Josh Simmons.
I
I
can't.
mean, I
do it.
know you're not going to go Josh Simmons. I'm saying that's the popular pick. I don't
he's
think
going
he'll
Ted
do it.
McMillan.
We're gonna walk. We're gonna. So they signed Cam Robinson, take over left tackle. Drafted Blake Fisher in the second round, like last year. Played really bad, but I have a guess that they're going to continue to give him faith at right tackle. Same thing with Drew Scruggs. Brought in Titus Howard at left guard, so they kind of short up the O line. Could really use a linebacker here, and
Their
definitely could use a guy in
Best
the middle
offensive lineman.
on the D line. Henry Tu'o, the 5th round pick, up and down. 6th round pick, EJ Speed. Their will probably not going to be that guy. I would love to take Derek Harmon here, honestly, for them, but the pick is going to be Jihad Campbell, Alabama.
I thought this is where you were going. You were alluding to the linebacker, Jihad Campbell. Very good value right there at Alabama. I like that pick, man.
D'Amico go gets him a linebacker, and because they have
Yeah.
Shear in the middle, but he is getting older.
You guys also went in our draft defensive or something like that, and I'm sorry, their line is atrocious. They traded their only good offensive lineman, in my opinion.
They've
Byron
got Cam
Johnson.
Robinson, the former 2nd round pick from
Yeah.
Jacksonville, left
He's
tackle.
how old is he though?
1995,
34, something like that. I think.
so
30-ish.
30,
Yeah, whatever.
30 on the dot.
They did make
Ish.
moves. Yeah, they
Yeah.
did make moves.
And before they made the moves, I still don't think it's going to go well for him. I'm gonna be honest, but I just don't
That's all
like
right.
the tackles that
It's all
are on
right
the
with
board
me.
right now.
And look, if you could find middle linebacker to control that defense, be the quarterback of the defense, maybe Jihad Campbell could be that right there. They got pretty good defense as it is with a defensive-minded head coach, Mika Ryans. So I see that pick going well. Not bad.
It's kind of funny though that this draft, we talked about it last week. This draft, there's not really a lot of linebackers. This is one of the
There's
most
not.
kind of the
No.
more dry
And that's why I
running
didn't
back
take
draft
Harmon.
that I can remember.
And that's why I didn't take Harmon, because I know after Campbell, dude, everyone's got serious questions. Like,
Yeah. And
thought
I actually had
that-
Campbell going higher, so I agree with you.
Yeah, good value, in my
I'm
opinion.
high on Campbell. I like him.
Yeah, no doubt. Well picked. Good pick right there. I like it. All right. We are on to the Los Angeles Rams right now. And we are back to our number one pick with Mr. McNiner.
Buffalo,
So-
I loved
As you
Campbell.
So I think the Miami U kicker Andrew Brugales is too good for these guys. No,
John
seriously,
Shea.
the Rams jettisoned one of their guards. You know, one of their guys that they signed, they traded him to Chicago. So the pick here is his replacement, Tyler Booker, guard from Alabama.
Good one.
Yeah,
Good one.
very nice.
Good one. I
'Cause,
like
I mean,
that
the
one.
last several years they've stocked up on D line. You
Yeah.
know, their D line, they have youngsters all across the board, and I think they sign Puna Ford or something like that.
Yeah, they did.
So when it comes to D line, they're all set, but their O line has a couple question marks, and that answers one of those questions.
It's a great answer
Absolutely.
because if they lose
Absolutely.
Stafford, season over. Season over.
That's
Oh,
that's
yeah,
the
no
fact.
doubt. No doubt.
If they lose Stafford, here comes James Richard Garoppolo. Goodbye,
Jimmy
Steve.
G. Yeah.
Come
Stafford's
on,
what,
you don't
36
guys don't
years
like
old?
Jimmy G. Come on.
Not more.
Like, but yeah, I agree 100%. And I think we talked about it before. I think that if this year and next year, but more importantly this year, the Rams are going to win the NFC West. And I think they're really trying to go all in because I think they feel right now with what they've done in the offseason, I think this is like a unexpected, not Super Bowl or bust, but this is an unexpected haul for them. And I think, like you say, if they can keep Stafford upright, I can see them winning. I can see the Rams winning 13, 14 games this year. That's not an exaggeration.
They're in win now. You got to make a move that helps you win now.
Absolutely.
No doubt. No doubt. Saying what's up to Harry R. Bears.
What's up, Howie?
There, your Bears looking a little bit better. And Bay Area
Up,
Sports.
Bears?
You know, McNiner, who's drafted
John Jay, what's cracking, buddy? I had Armand Mimbo.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
that's who we ended up with at 11.
Solidify that offensive line over there. No doubt. No doubt. Well done.
And where are all these 49ers? What the hell, man?
Yeah.
There's
We're
a
a
ton of
family.
us on YouTube, buddy. We're a vast community.
It's a big state.
Oh.
We're real
Faithful
tight.
to the Bay, baby. Come on.
We're like
now.
ants. We're like ants.
Levi, where are you from?
All right,
I'm
Kenny.
everywhere, man.
All right. So I'm sure Levi would like to trade me for this pick, so he could take it. But
Absolutely.
I see,
I know who he's picking.
I mean, I'm gonna pick who I think they would pick. And although I believe they need O-line, and you know I took O-line in our legit draft, I'm gonna go Nick Emenwari,
I knew it. Ding, ding,
the
ding.
Ravens. He's got a lot of upside. I know it was more combine that he started to get more looks after the combine, but still, this is a guy that you put together in a lab if you want to make a safety.
Huge.
So I think the Ravens would be very, very excited to get him.
Now, don't get me
6'3".
wrong. He's a really good player. Sorry, Prime. I didn't mean to cut you off, but I want to go to Levi real quick on this pick. You got Kyle Hamilton, who may be the best safety in the entire league.
Mhm.
Do you like them as a tandem, or would you rather go somewhere else?
So, Emenwari is a freak. I slightly would love him, but he kind of is the same exact mold player as Hamilton. While the Ravens, they want a true free safety. Malaki, and the real guy I'm aiming for, Xavier Watts in the second round. That's why I want to trade out of the first. But Kenny did mention something. This is actually where I would take one of the tackles potentially. For me on the board, this pick is either for the Ravens, Ezeraku, or it's Donovan Jackson, the tackle from Ohio
Yeah,
State.
He
Even though
played
Simmons
tackle
is
last
higher.
year, but he's not a tackle. Really.
Exactly, he's a guard, and the Ravens like that. They need more interior than tackle help, and so you're not wrong there, Kenny. That Donovan Jackson could very well be the pick there.
Yeah.
But Emenwari's a freak. You can't be too mad about it.
I think
We'll
you
make it work. We'll make it
yourself a
work.
few interceptions next year if you took him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's huge, man. I love him. I absolutely
he's-
love him.
Well,
I
we know Hamilton is versatile, so
Yeah.
you got coaches there. You
Yep.
know what to do. You could train these young men to do anything. So.
And Emenwari,
Yeah.
really good down in the line of scrimmage. Doesn't have that true free safety range potentially, but like I said,
He's
we can
like
make it
that
work.
hybrid type. He's like a Jabril
Exactly.
Peppers
He can come
type,
down like he's basically a sub linebacker in a sense, just like Hamilton.
Exactly.
yeah.
I like him. I like big defensive backs. I would take
dude.
all my receivers that were like 6'4", 6'5", and convert them to defensive. I hate these little 5'11", 5'10" guys. I know there's hip movement and footwork issues, the bigger you get, especially when you're trying to cover some of these receivers. But all my defensive backs, when I play like Madden, I do create a player and all that. All my guys are like 6'8", 6'9". So I like defensive back.
I like my wide receivers and my cornerbacks in sets of height. So like my X, I want my X wide receiver 6'3" or bigger. Kind of same with my true X corner to cover him. My next guy, 6 foot, 5'11", perfect. But then my slot guy, I'm looking for like 5'10". Like
Yeah. Usually the smaller guys,
that short area burst and
Yeah,
quickness.
No doubt. All right. So Emenwari, Kenny Pickens makes the pick over there to match up with Kyle Hamilton, fortifying already a great defense for Baltimore. All right, prime time. You are up right now. It is your team, baby.
Hold on.
Which hats?
Yeah. Switch
All right,
GM hats. Come on, GM. Get in there.
All right.
The
Here we
Detroit
go.
Lions.
Options.
I was torn because I didn't think the one guy would be here this far in the draft, but he is. I love Ezeraku out of Boston College. I absolutely love him. The knock on him is going to be the competition that he played, which I hate that. However, having said all of that, I'm probably going to end up taking, if I'm Dan Campbell and company, I'm going to take James Pierce Jr. out of Tennessee.
Oh,
Despite all the, he's a bad teammate, he's this and that. Again, what's the theme on the show? Can he play football? I think he's the perfect kind of guy for Dan Campbell. He's not going to come in and be a disruptor in the locker room because Dan Campbell, the culture's not going to allow that to happen. But when you're looking for a guy that's 6'6", and can do all the things athletically that he can do, he's either going to be one of those guys that are going to be really good or really bad. I don't think there's like a lot of middle ground with him, but I think when you play him for a coach like Dan Campbell, who can get the best out of a lot of these guys. Look what he did with Aleem McNeil. Aleem McNeil's not the most talented guy in the world, but he was their second best defensive lineman. And a lot of people have him. If you had an All-Pro for the NFC North, he would be the starting defensive tackle next to Aiden Hutchinson being the starting defensive end. So
Wow.
I like Ezeraku. If you're going volume, Ezeraku had 16 and a half sacks. But if you're going just freak athlete out there on the end and potential, I think this would and this is a cost-saving method for the Lions because it would prevent you from having to make a trade or whatever for Trey Hendrickson, which is what everybody up here wants them to do.
That's bad news for the NFC North, man.
Ezeraku's also a good bit shorter arms as well. So, if you buy into arm length for a pass rusher, you definitely take Pierce here for sure. And Pierce definitely,
At 28,
it's their biggest.
His upside's got probably way higher, to be honest.
Yeah, I had him going higher in the draft, actually. I thought he'd be somewhere like the 15, 16, 17 range. So that would be a very good value pick for James Pierce Jr.
I got a feeling Ravens out of a bunch of Boston College players. Just like they. Yeah. I could see Ezeraku going. I could see Trapilio
keep him on the East Coast.
Hey, Levi, what do you think about Ezeraku maybe being stand-up?
Dude, that's what I'm saying. I'd love to see him over here in the 3-4 system playing upright. Like him and Mike Green are kind of my number 1 and 2 guys. Mm-hmm. Like Pierce is right there too, though. Like they're kind of all 1A, B, and C in my opinion. But after that, I'm not.
Yeah, we do have a Bears. Who picked for the Bears? Who were the Bears? Who picked for the Bears?
They were picked 10. So
I did. Travis Hunter fell.
Oh no, that was me. I chose Jalen Walker.
Oh wow.
Oh, you did. You're right. You did. You picked Jalen Walker. I'm sorry. You're right.
Yeah.
Winnie the Pooh wanted to know who we picked for the Bears.
Yeah. Pick Jalen Walker for you. How you feel?
Not a bad pick right there. I like that. All right, bringing us to our next one. As we get closer now, we only have 4 picks left. We are at the Washington Commanders right now, and yeah, they picked up Debo. They got Terry McLaurin, but I'm liking another wide receiver who I think fell over here, and I think this is going to be a really good one. That Luther Burden III out of Missouri.
Unreal.
That's your guy. Guy.
He's my guy, man. I'm picking him for the Commanders. If he falls that low, I believe he'll take him. Some people will say, Emeka Egbuka, is maybe another one, but I like Luther Burden, man. So out of the ones that taken away, Ted McMillan is gone, Matthew Golden is gone, Luther Burden III. Yep, for Washington, watch out, man. They could be a badass team next year.
Yeah, that's going to be a problem.
You went freaking.
Yeah, there goes our chances of winning the NFC East. Because we had such great high hopes going into next season. Thanks a lot, Jim. Hey, thanks a lot.
And
we don't know who the hell we're going to cover him with.
Yeah, really, no kidding. Jeez, oh boy, yeah, they can have a lot of good things going on over there. Very interesting. All right, bringing us to the Buffalo Bills. Here we go.
This is a tough pick right here.
It is a little bit, actually. They signed Bosa at edge, or I would be taking edge. I still slightly want to, with Ezeraku being there still. But they lost. They had to get rid of their number 1 corner due to cap casualty, leaving them. They got a great Teron Johnson in the nickel. So I think they need to go find an outside guy here, and I think that's going to be Trey Amos, cornerback, Mississippi.
Okay.
Oh wow,
I like the cornerback pick right there. They can use some help in the back end. I like that. Good pick.
You can never really have, we talk about defensive linemen. You can never really have too many good corners.
They really need some linebacker help, but there's nothing.
There's nobody out there. There's nobody out there at all.
They're going to have to trade up in the second if they want one of those guys, too. Like Knight. I was halfway tempted, but it's just too high.
Howie seems to think that Jalen Walker's a bit of a bust. 6.5 sacks, 4 sacks came in 2 games against Texas, and I don't know.
So,
what do you think about that one?
Let me give you this, Howie. If you consider Jalen as a pure edge rusher, yeah, he'll probably end up as a bust. But if he's playing in a 4-3 system, kind of like Micah, where he can rush the passer, play off ball, be a jack of all trades linebacker, it's hard to bust on that.
It's hard to be a bust, too, when you make it and you're on the list for the Dick Butkus Award winners. Because if you look at the list of those people have been chosen for Dick Butkus
and that's
Award
linebacker,
winners,
not edge.
they are not any scrub by any means.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah, no linebacker is going to give you any edge potential like he does in this draft, and it's not just the sacks; it's the competition and who he pushed around a little bit, despite his size.
Saying what's up to the realtor David Sussman. Yeah, you know what? Sorry, bro. You're gonna have to go back to the podcast and check them out. So if you want to go through it, yeah, we went 1 through 32. Everybody had their own pick. Not everybody made up picks. So yeah, go back, check it out. Tell me what you think is good. We'd like to hear it. All right. So
boy.
that was the Buffalo Bills. So now we get back up to McNiner, right? Your pick?
That's right.
Kansas City Chiefs. Here we go. The pick is in.
So, you know, the Chiefs have had serious O-line issues, right?
For sure.
But at the same time, it's like, you know, they've also had, like, their defense has carried them the last couple of years. Their offense hasn't been that good. Patrick Mahomes, a lot of people call him the best quarterback in the league. Look at his numbers over the last couple of years.
I don't. We've been through this.
So, you know, it's a thing. His defense has carried him the last couple of years. He's done just enough to win games, though. Let's be honest, though.
Yeah.
He still does that.
And he was losing both his Super Bowls. We blew it, if you ask me. We blew our Super Bowl, and we blew it 2 times, if you ask me. So
Y'all got cheated.
Look at what the Eagles did to them last year. You know, their offensive line. They picked Kingsley Salmoatua to be the tackle, and then they ended up benching him.
yeah,
Right.
You know, they signed Jalen Moore, our swing tackle,
Salamateos, whatever his name.
who is I don't know how to hey, you can't. I'm horrible at pronouncing names.
Well,
okay?
I don't get to pat myself on the back too much, but remember, I made that little poll about is it a big deal that Wanya Morris got arrested? Any big deal? Nobody thought it was a big deal. Guess what? Their left tackle was gone. It was a big deal. Okay? They lost the Super Bowl because of it. And so it wasn't.
You know, they signed another guy like Brown. They signed him for big money, right?
Over tackle play, technically.
Jalen, yeah.
So
Tampa's one, too.
at this point, it's kind of like they need weapons for that offense, is what I'm saying.
Yep.
So they're going to take Emeka Egbuka, wide receiver from Ohio State, right here.
That's what David did. Didn't you take a wide receiver too in your other draft, David?
I believe I did, but I think it was, if I'm not mistaken, I don't know if it was, it might have been Egbuka. I thought it was Jaden Higgins because I was kind of high on him too. But
Right.
It was, well, you may have, yeah.
I had a little pushback on that because I feel like Rashee Rice is coming back, and you got Hollywood Brown, and now you got yeah. So I had a little pushback on that, but I mean, geez, unfortunately, wide receivers fall down every single year. A guy gets hurt, so not a bad idea.
He's big,
but I kind of like the offensive line in that one, McNiner.
Yeah. You know, it's you'd think they'd go offensive line, but they addressed that in free agency signing Jalen Moore, right?
Right.
Theoretically.
Like Higgins pick, by the way, prime time.
So, yeah, and they need weapons for Mahomes to throw to. All they have is Travis Kelce and the rest of the game, you know.
They have the guys, but I don't consider them great wide receivers.
And I agree with under the helmet. Under the helmet, I agree a little bit. You know, you don't need great weapons, but it doesn't hurt to have a couple. You know, I mean,
yes, it definitely helps to have some.
But yeah,
look, a guy's talking about arm length. Even a gator gets.
Oh, his arm length is longer.
Say that again, McNiner. Say that again.
Even a gator gets its prey. You know,
that's right.
Right? A Tyrannosaurus Rex didn't do too bad back in the day, you know?
Exactly.
That's right.
I love it. And that was the thing about Will Campbell, you know, his short little arm. Look, put the freaking tape on. Put on the tape. You can do
That's it, man.
That's all
Kenny, you're drafting for the Super Bowl champs here.
Yeah, you got the last pick here, Kenny.
All right. So, with the last pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, first round, Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles select Ben Sauls, kicker from Pittsburgh.
Oh, look at you. Look at you. You're like the fantasy football freaking GM who drafts a kicker like
look, it says I trust in Kenny.
Book it, as they say. Book it.
You know what that's equivalent to? It's like going to the club, getting weight, the best booze, the best weed, and then the cops pull up behind you, get that adrenaline rush, and it just takes everything down.
Click
It's a
on
lot.
the next comment.
Spongy, you know better than that.
Click on Spongy's next comment.
That is funny.
Serious
That's
pick,
funny.
though. Did I make a serious pick?
You just killed Philly Special, by the way.
I
You
did.
Yeah, right, you did.
All right, so
I knew he
you're
was
making the
waiting.
serious pick now. Okay.
I knew Spongy was waiting. I'm gonna go Donovan as Oraku.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
such a Philly pick.
You know what I tell you I like in this pick right here? I think, again, Cleveland, they didn't get a quarterback in our mock draft. I think they want to come back in, whether it's 32, 31, whoever's willing to pick, and get Jalen Milroe. What do you guys think about Jalen Milroe?
Yeah, that's what you did. You traded the last pick away,
Yeah, I did that in our mock draft, and
and you gave the Eagles 2 more fucking top 100 picks. Is what you did.
I know I did.
I don't like Milroe. I don't like Milroe at all. And he's probably. I'm not a big fan of Alabama quarterbacks anyway, but Milroe to me is probably the worst one that they've had over the last few years since they've been on this run. And all I think of, but the one thing I love him for is that he gave us a national championship with that 4th down call. That was probably, I absolutely love him for that. But I don't see him being the Jalen Hurts type that everybody thinks he's going to be in the league. He'll be a serviceable backup if he's lucky. But I'm not high on him absolutely at all, 100%. I'm not a big fan.
I actually do like Milroe, and I think he's going to be okay in this league. And I think that you can learn accuracy the way Tom Brady and Drew Brees did. And so I like that little Jalen Milroe. I like him a lot.
Yeah, McNutt, you don't get invited to the first round of the draft unless you're
Exactly.
probably going to be a first-round draft pick. So, you know what? Why not?
Yeah.
Did
he's
Howie?
got all the tools. He's like kind of like Anthony Richardson a little bit in that sense. He's got every tool you want, and like he actually made some big throws in 3rd and long and outside the numbers and stuff like that. But my God, mechanically speaking, so inconsistent. The turnover ratio this past year was atrocious. What was it, like 16 and 11 or something like that? Like it was not good. Decision
give up
making
on
bad this year. Like
Don't give up on him.
oh yeah,
Hey, real quick, the chat is.
I take him
blowing
like
up.
3rd round probably.
The chat is blowing up. They're arguing about Nakobe Dean. Howie R. Bears just dropped a Manti Te'o. Manti Te'o's name came up in 2025 on
See
a
him every morning.
podcast.
He's actually on a show for ESPN.
Yeah.
He's on a show for ESPN.
I watch him every morning. It's Good Morning Football.
Oh yeah, it is Good Morning
He was the
Football.
one. Wasn't he the one with the imaginary girlfriend?
Yes, from Notre Dame. Yes, he was.
Yes,
He got
yes.
catfished in Imaginary Girl.
Yeah,
No,
you
he's
guys-
funny.
I knew
He's
that.
funny.
I just wanted to hear it out loud, confirm. But yeah,
He seems like a nice guy. I don't know. I like the
he
guy.
was a hell of a player in college, though. He was a
Yeah,
hell
I
of
feel
a-
bad for Prime. We had a question from Lisa De Lorenzo. Lions also had business with Mikael Williams,
Yeah.
Zabel, Matthew Golden, Josiah
Zabel.
Stewart, and many
Zabel
others.
is
So,
actually-
Josiah Stewart, I love.
Zabel is actually high on the Lions board, especially since they lost Jonah Jackson. They would like him to, potentially line up next to Penei Sewell and solidify that offensive line because I don't think they're going to pick up, they'll probably pick up the 5th-year option on Jahmyr Gibbs, so he'll be around for a few more years. I don't see Montgomery being around maybe past this year, but that offensive line, which has been the strength of the Lions, probably 1st or 2nd in the league, depending on how you rate them versus Philly. The more they had some injuries on their offensive line. Taylor Decker is getting kind of up there. The Graham Glasgow, so Frank Ragnow. These guys are good, but I think it's time for the Lions to start recycling that offensive line. And Lisa hit it right on the head. I wouldn't be mad. I originally had one of my mocks. I had Gray Zabel actually going to the Lions, so that's
Okay.
not out of the realm of possibilities at all.
well, you know what? That's where I wanted to go with you guys real quick before we close it out. So, McNutt, starting with you. I know you picked Armand Membo for the 49ers in our mock draft, but if you had the realistic pick, again, we're not going to get, Abdul Carter or Travis Hunter or anything like that. Who would be your ideal pick at number 11?
More than likely, Membo is actually not going to be there because let's face it, teams value offensive tackles big time.
Yep.
So it would be Kenneth Grant, the guy on the inside from Michigan. That's who I would actually pick.
I'm
All
happy
right,
to
And
do that
Mendo's
as
the
well.
only potential starting right tackle, basically.
Yeah.
And
What
low
about
floor,
you,
he moves inside.
Levi? Who do you take for your Baltimore Ravens if you had a realistic pick? Don't go crazy over here, but who would you take?
So, like, looking at how our board fell and what was left on the board, I'm telling you, I'm trading out of the first round. If I can. If I could not, it's Ezeraku all day.
Okay.
I have him as my second best defensive lineman, so there you go.
My plan is I want to trade out of the first. I want Xavier Watts to start the second, and then I'll have fun after that.
I've taken Watts at 43 many times for the Niners.
That's what I'm saying. I need like top 5 picks on the second round to go get him. I'm praying someone's coming up to get a quarterback, like New York.
I bet they are.
Kenny, what about you? Oh, sorry, McNaughton. Go ahead.
No, you're the 2021 Butkus Award winner was Nicole B. Dean.
Oh yeah. Well, okay, but you can. I always tell people you want to pick out the exception. That's fine, but look at that list. Look at the list from beginning to end, and then find more guys. Go ahead. You know what I'm saying? So yeah.
How many Heisman quarterbacks have been bust? I mean, we can.
One of the Dick Butkus winners is still in college. Just imagine that shit. So.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I mean, Roquan's. Oh, no, that's a presenter. Never mind. I was trying to find the list.
I was with McNiner on the Grant. I think that's a great pick too. I love it. I love him. I would take him in the middle. We need defensive tackle. He's a big dude. And then I'd wait till later in like the 5th round, 4th round, and get me another big old defensive tackle you can't move. And that's what I would do.
I will admit, not many of the Dick Butkus Award winners in college have not done well in NFL. Jack Campbell's doing okay in Detroit. Peyton Wilson.
Campbell
they love him.
Didn't Campbell kind of save Detroit?
Owusu's still starting for Cleveland. Yeah. Devin White, poor dude. Roquan Smith, like CJ Mosley, still playing.
Yeah, Be careful when you come on shows like this and you start throwing out stuff because between the 5
I like that somebody back checked me about Ezeraku's arms. I appreciate that.
Yeah,
and that's crazy. Pierce has 3 inches, I think, on Ezeraku height, but has 2 inches on the arm length.
Yeah.
Crazy.
I got pythons like Hulk Hogan over here. But I'm on a diet. So they're not that big.
So, Prime, what about you? You did pick Shedeur Sanders for the New York Giants. Is that your pick right there?
I think that's realistically who they're going to pick. If he's there, I think they're going to pick him. I think that, like as we talked about it earlier, the backlash would be too much, in the court of public opinion if they didn't pick him. And I think the Lions either go Pierce. I think they go Ezeraku if he's there, but I think they really like Pierce, or they're going to go Zabel. They're going to go either offensive line or defensive line. Me personally, I would go defensive line and take Pierce. And because
they've been dying for a book in opposite Hutchinson since they drafted him.
Oh my God, I'm salivating over it. I'm looking forward, almost as forward to that. But what McNiner said with the Pittsburgh scenario earlier, that's still in my head, man. Let's do that. Oh my God, right now. Let's do that.
Boy,
yeah. I'd take Pierce for the Lions and Shedeur for the Giants.
All right, fair enough. There you go. And for the 49ers, I'm kind of with McNiner over here. If Membo is available, go get him. But even a Kenneth Grant, I would take him. Even a Kelvin Banks, I would take that guy, no problem. Kenny, I know you like him a lot. So I want to stick on the offensive and defensive line because right now the 49ers, they're really not a Super Bowl contender. We'll see what happens with Brock Purdy. We're not going to get into all that right now, obviously. We'll be going for $1.50 over here. And I've had a great fucking time with you guys. I can't thank you guys enough for doing this, man. This has been a lot of fun.
Yeah, man, really. We appreciate you guys coming on. We got to do this again.
Yeah.
We got to do this again.
No doubt. And we appreciate the listeners, you guys out there. Yo, real quick, next week at this time, the draft is going on. We are going to be doing the entire first round. Me, Kenny, and Prime over here. We're going to be doing the entire first round, having a great time, going through our little contest over here. It's going to be a bullseye. This is going to go to the same team, but a different spot. We got a whole bunch of shit going on. It's going to be a lot of fun. But before all that, we got 2 great panelists over here, McNiner and Darwin's Raven. Please, guys, McNiner, starting with you. Tell us where people can find you, what you're doing, your shows, everything that's going on.
So, this Saturday is actually the final episode of the 2025 49er Mock Draft Series, right?
All right.
I do it every year. You know, what I've done is I reached out to all my peoples, and I've had different 49er GMs. This night, I'm taking the reins back.
Yeah.
So, and I'm also going to be trading, one of our top end players.
Ooh.
So, should be interesting,
Wow.
right?
Ooh,
Undrafted.
bring it in.
You know, Corey Davis, 49er Wednesday. Corey Davis was my good friend. He passed away after watching us, mollywop the Philadelphia Eagles in 2023.
Yeah,
He passed away that weekend.
I'm sorry to hear that.
You know, I've kept his name alive. We go live every Wednesday, same time he did. Got to keep it going.
That's
right?
great, man. That's
so
great.
it's David McNiner. That's actually my YouTube channel, folks. Please check it out. Just trying to hit 200. Been stuck almost there for a long time.
Subscribe to his channel. Obviously, he brings the freaking heat, man. McNiner, love it. Awesome.
Yep.
Lawrence Raven, Levi. What do you got going on? Tell the people.
I have not been doing much. I'm still trying to finalize my official draft special. I've done it 2 years in a row. This will be our official third year, where we find the late round gems in rounds 3 through 7. That's the only rounds we focus on. I don't care about first and second. It's too easy.
Awesome. I like that.
We've had a lot of great success. After my last 2 years of draft specials, I could officially start almost in a starting NFL team out of third round picks and later. So we're down to 150 players right now. So I still got to really trim up the fat here, but hope it'll come out soon. Thank you for having me on, by the way.
All right. Well, I know it's going to be
Thanks
a
for
great
coming
job.
on, man.
No doubt. Prime, Kenny, we'll be back next week. We're going to be doing the mock draft. Well, not the mock draft, the real freaking draft, actually. It's on, man. Hey, guys, this has been a great time. I can't thank you enough. I really appreciate it. Stick around. Don't go anywhere. I'm going to end the podcast, but thank you to everybody who chimed in. We had a lot of comments today. Thanks a lot, everyone from Howie, Bay Area Sports. I mean, Philly Special. I mean, who else is in here today? I mean, God.
Lisa De Lorenzo.
Yeah, Lisa. That's right. Under the helmet.
Primo was on here.
We got John J. Howie R. Bears.
That's right. He had a lot of interesting takes, Howie. All right. Hey, you're welcome to the show anytime, my man. Power 32 Podcast. We are out of here. Thank you guys very much. We'll see you next week.
Peace.